In this video, we're going to visit ghost towns and abandoned places in northern Nevada, and we're going to see some amazing scenery. On this trip, I saw some of the most fascinating ghost towns I've seen in all of the US. So let's begin. Our first stop is Vernon, Nevada, my favorite ghost town in the entire state. This place is located about an hour west of Lovelock, Nevada. It was founded in 1905 to serve as a base for all the mines in the district. Nobody lives here anymore, but it still feels like the Wild West, and there's a lot of buildings to see. The mines in the area were only active for about 4 years. At one point, 600 people lived here. But by 1907, only 300 people remained. I'm kind of surprised that most of the buildings were still in reasonable shape for being over 100 years old. The road to get here was pretty easy for the most part, but once you got about 3 miles away, you did need a little bit of clearance. I was driving a mid-size SUV, and I did okay. Because you're at such a high elevation, I would caution about visiting this place in the middle of winter. It's so amazing that you can get this close to some of this old machinery. I highly recommend a visit to Vernon. This place is breathtaking. Our next stop is the Belmont Mill. This is located about an hour west of Ely, Nevada. It's one of the best preserved mines of its kind in all of Nevada. It started operations in 1926 and operated on and off for decades until 1967 when it closed for good. Most of the machinery has been removed, but there's plenty of buildings still in reasonable shape. And like most of these mining operations in Nevada, you've got to be very careful. There's a lot of hazards here. Since I was by myself, I took no risks. If you're going to visit this location, it's very important not to use the GPS on your phone. They're going to take you through some really wild roads. The safest way to get here is when you're on Highway 50, turn south at White Pine County Road number 5 and then head south. Most vehicles should be able to get here just fine. But Google Maps took me through some really tricky roads the first time I tried to enter. I'm doing this trip in late October of 2024. I'm visiting from Saskatchewan, Canada. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Please tell me in the comments below. And once again, I found myself very fascinated by the fact that you could get this close and personal to all this equipment. The floor was really bad upstairs, so I did not bother walking around here. And from the Belmont Mill, I headed a little bit further north to Hamilton, Nevada. This place is really old. It was founded in 1868. By the summer of 1869, the population reached 12,000 people. That's just crazy because nobody lives here anymore. At its peak, Hamilton boasted 100 saloons, and it had several breweries, 60 general stores, along with banks, hotels, theaters, and even a skating rink. This may be the largest former ghost town I've ever been to where nobody lives anymore. The post office here closed in 1931. And like some of the other ghost towns in Nevada, this place is probably not a good idea to visit in winter because it's in a really high elevation. It's towns like Hamilton are why I find Nevada to be the best place to visit ghost towns of all the states. Our next stop is Metropolis, Nevada. This is located about 20 minutes northwest of Wells, Nevada, and the road to get here was pretty easy. The town was established in 1910. This building here does look like it was probably the bank because of that vault in the middle. And this was the high school. At its peak, it had 700 people. Now nobody lives here anymore. The Southern Pacific Railroad constructed an 18-mile spur to this town in 1912, but it was abandoned by 1925 due to the town's decline. The state of the old high school is very bad, and it's kind of dangerous, but I couldn't help myself. I walked around a little bit when I probably shouldn't have when I'm by myself. This school shut down in 1947, and the post office closed in 1942. Our next stop is Palisade, Nevada. Nobody lives here anymore, but there is a family who lives on the edge of town. It's located about 10 miles south of Carlin, Nevada, and the road to get here was pretty easy. The town was established in 1868, and the post office closed in the 60s. A flood hit the town in 1910, destroying most of the town. There's also a legend that in 1932, a railroad inspector found dynamite beside the track after President Hoover passed through town, indicating a possible assassination attempt. Two rail lines still pass through Palisade, and it's a great place to do rail fanning. The canyon here is just gorgeous. Our next stop is Schellbourne Station, Nevada. It was once part of the Pony Express. It's located a few miles away from the ghost town of Schellbourne, which is on private property. At this location, there's an abandoned restaurant, motel, and gas station. I couldn't find when this place was abandoned, but I would guess it was about 15 to 20 years ago. And there was a for sale sign in case anybody's interested. Unfortunately, it's been completely renovated by vandals. This is one of the motel rooms. There's a rest stop across the highway from here with a sign warning people about rattlesnakes. In fact, a lot of these places in Nevada probably do have snakes around, so be careful. I think I had one of these in the 90s. Our next stop is the Ward charcoal ovens. They were constructed in 1876 to produce charcoal. This is technically a state park, and I did have to pay $10 to enter the park. These things are amazing, and the rumor is they were also used by outlaws back in the 1800s. The ovens only operated for about 3 years during the peak silver booms. In 1971, they were listed in the National Register of Historic Places. They're located about 20 miles south of LA, Nevada. Our next stop is Fort Churchill State Park. Once again, this is a state park and I had to pay $10 to enter this place. It was established in 1860 by the U.S. Army. And it's located about 50 miles east of Carson City, Nevada. It was active from 1860 to 1869. Then it was abandoned. In 1957, it was designated a state park. You can't enter all these buildings, but it's fascinating to see them. It took me about 20 minutes to walk around to see all these buildings. And there's a lot of signs available to explain the history. Our next stop is the Lightning Mountain Monument. It's an art project that was built in the late 1960s by Frank Van Zandt. It was intended to be a tribute to Native American heritage and the injustices they faced. The site is located right off the highway at Imlay, Nevada, right off Interstate 80. During the 1970s, the monument served as a commune, and it attracted a lot of hippies with alternate lifestyles. There was a hostel here at one point too. In 1983, arson destroyed some of the structures, leading to its decline. It was declared a National State Historic Site in 1992. And they do ask for donations while you're visiting here. I left $5. It's truly a remarkable art project, and I really enjoyed my visit. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video across northern Nevada. Very shortly, I'll be uploading my video of ghost towns in southern Nevada.